Hi, I'm Dr. Taylor. I'm a board-certified emergency medicine physician. This is part 3 of a brand new series breaking down the traumatic injuries of various cartoon characters. Next up, we have Clayton from the original 1999 Tarzan movie. In this, Clayton gets tangled in a mass of vines. He slowly starts chopping the vines away with his machete, not realizing that one of the vines was wrapped around his neck like a noose. When only one vine remained, he plummets to the ground, accidentally hanging himself. So we have two types of hanging, judicial hanging and non-judicial hanging. Non-judicial would be in the setting of a suicide attempt, for example, with a noose wrapped around the neck. In this type of hanging, the patient hangs there and does not fall from a distance greater than the height. We call this a non-judicial hanging. In this setting, cervical fractures are rare. We actually tend to see more neck hematomas, damage to the epiglottis, cricoid fractures, laryngeal fractures, hyoid bone fractures, airway obstruction, blunt vascular injury, and pulmonary complications. The other type of hanging is what happened to Clayton, where an individual falls from a distance greater than their own height. We call this a judicial hanging. In this type of hanging, we actually see all of the injuries of a non-judicial hanging, but we also tend to see more cervical fractures. One of the most common injuries in this setting is called a hangman's fracture. We also call it traumatic spondylolisthesis of the axis, which is basically a bilateral fracture of C2 with anterior subluxation or dislocation due to hyperextension of the neck with where that noose is located. Now, drops that are several meters in height, which would be the case in the Tarzan movie, if you apply the concept we spoke about in The Death of Mufasa, utilizing the kinematic equation and the acceleration due to gravity at 9.81 meters per second squared, he would have fallen a distance roughly anywhere between 40 to 70 meters in height, depending on how many seconds we give that in the video. Regardless, at this height, I would be expecting to see not just devastating vascular injuries and a spinal cord transection. That distance, literally how high Clayton was, he would likely have suffered what's called an internal decapitation, which is an atlanto-occipital dislocation, which is basically the complete ligamentous separation of the skull from the spine. Literally, the head and the spine are completely dislocated. It's not that the head falls off from the body, although that is possible depending on how high up you are and that cord straightens out at the very end, or that vine straightens out at the very end, but rather in the case of Clayton, the muscles and the skin are essentially the only thing that's keeping the head on the body. At the end of this particular scene, it is both dark and eerie, with flashes of lightning revealing Clayton's dangling corpse just swaying in the breeze. In my opinion, this is likely one of the most, if not the most, gruesome death scene in a Disney movie.